Welcome to the Future of Employee Experience Season 2. Joining me today is Kathleen Vundla. She is the Group Corporate Wellness Manager from Fidelity Services Group. Kathleen, welcome and thanks for joining us today.
Oh, Sally, thank you so much. Good morning to everyone. And it's indeed an honor to join you, to be invited by you. I'm over the moon and I'm hoping for the best. And thank you for this opportunity. It's really a great opportunity. Thank you so much.
I'm very excited to chat to you today. So now you've been with Fidelity for just under 7 years, but I want to go back a little bit before that, and I want to understand a little bit more about you and your journey. So can you tell me where are you from?
Okay, so I started working when I was 18. And I was studying. I was doing my BCom through UNISA and through the Midrand Graduate Institute. So in that year, my mom fell ill and she passed on. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to do the work and study thing, which was extremely difficult because I think my final year just dragged.
Yeah.
So it really dragged, but because of that decision to work. So I worked for really fantastic companies. I worked at Standard Bank head office. That was my first permanent position. And then I worked at Discovery Health. I worked at, I was actually headhunted to work at Origin Merchant Bank when I was at Standard Bank. And I was there when they had the whole merger and acquisition with Henry Ansbacher, and it became the RMB Private Bank. And then I had an opportunity to join Investec Bank, which is a private international bank. And so my journey, if I can say, actually took a turn off there because the culture at Investec is quite a steep culture. It's a sink or swim culture. It might have changed over the years, but you learn a lot within a very short space of time. And also what I really loved is the encouragement of entrepreneurialism. They employ people who have got an eye for business, and it opens you up to a whole new world. So when I left, I felt stagnated, so I left, and I was fortunately identified by a recruitment agency called the Leaders Personnel Group. They in 14th Avenue in Fairlands, and they wanted an enterprise development partner. So I was very fortunate, and so I had the opportunity to start my own recruitment agency, and I was there for about 5 years. I worked with so that opened also. It just enhanced my journey because I realized that my passion for people and for business is definitely there, and I need to hone into it. So I learned a lot. I learned to conceptualize the company, from marketing to business development to running it from an operational base. And I was quite young, Sally, and then that also just gave me this passion to start my own thing. So I became a stay-at-home mom, but we had a family business in transport and logistics. Yeah.
So wow.
So we had a shuttle bus, and we generated quite a lot of revenue from that vehicle. And then so then my journey then took another turn. So I went through a divorce. So whilst being a stay-at-home mom and looking after my beautiful sons, I was going through stuff and decided to go back into the formal employment market. And I was actually quite fortunate again. I think my life is just full of, a lot of fortune. I joined Fidelity Services Group, and I quickly grew within 3 months in my probation. I started off as a billing clerk, and within 3 months I was a group revenue coordinator or analyst. And one of my success stories is that I brought in unaccounted revenue for about 11 million rand, which I've never. Yeah, even now, years later, it's never been done before. So I did extremely well. So I developed I developed, a strong work ethic and working relationship with a lot of senior people in the business. And one of those is my group financial director. If I can name him, Mr. Sean Maharosh. And so then I left the business. There was a restructure going on. So yeah, unfortunately, I had to leave the business. So in that, I'm getting somewhere, Sally. My journey is quite long.
No, it's interesting. Carry on.
But yeah, so in that, I got my package, and I just hate sitting idle and not doing anything, because I believe an idle mind is an evil one. So I was still going through my divorce. So so I decided I'll open up a cleaning company, a mobile services company, car wash company, and all of that, with other ideas that I still want to pursue. And I got a contract with a German pharmaceutical company for their car wash. And there I could see a lot of my leadership skills that I'd grown in primary school, high school. Then also, they came out because I employed about 10 disadvantaged women and youth in that car wash business.
Okay.
And and I had that contract up until COVID. So I had it for about 4 years,
Wow.
And it's just one of my babies that I'm extremely proud of, because in my vision, in my business profile, I just, having been out of the employment sector, I realized that women and young people go through so much struggle, and I want to be involved in uplifting them from those struggles. So I was very hands-on in the business, right? So I was the one washing these cars, cleaning these homes. I worked with estate agents, so I'd clean their carpets, and so I learned a lot. I learned a lot in that time. It wasn't a very long time, because I then rejoined Fidelity Services Group, and through the help of my group financial director, I was cleaning our previous corporate director's home. And she's like, Kathleen, you know what? I know your work ethic. Is it okay that you update your CV and I run it past the group FD? It's like, okay, cool. So my group FD actually found me a job. Imagine at his level. I'll never forget that. So he found me a job, and I worked at our training college.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I've got a very strong work ethic. If you give me something, Sally, I will run with it, even if I don't know it. Like in this current position, I'm group wellness manager, and I've never been exposed to the things that I do. But, guide me, lead me, then I'll definitely make strides. So I'm currently making strides where I am. So anyway, so he approached me. He wanted me to go back into the billing position, because I did extremely well there, like I mentioned to you. So I went in there. And before I was retrenched, I was up for graduation for our senior management development program. So I was reintegrated into that program, because I was top student at the time before, leaving service. So I did extremely well there, and I was chosen to go study at Wits Business School.
Yeah.
On their management advancement program. So like I said, my work ethic is strong. So whatever you give me, I take it very seriously, whatever task. So I did well there. I scored top awards in that year in my syndicate, in that class. As you know, there's a lot of classes. So I was top student there. And but that's not by my power and might. That's because I'm a child of God. I believe in God, and I believe that if you truly love him, then he loves us, but if you truly love him, then he starts doing things for you. So God has been doing things for me because I serve him. I clean in our church. I started off by cleaning in the toilets. We've got a large church. It's about 3,000-4,000 seater church.
Wow.
So I rose through the ranks there also within a short space of time. So now I clean the whole, I'm inside the auditorium, and I clean the whole pulpit and the altar, and so yes. So I scooped all those awards, and then my company also entered me into the Accenture Rising Star Awards. I don't know if you're here.
Yes, I saw.
Yes, with Laura Barker. And that was in 2019. And I was a finalist, top 5, top 60 in the country, in the transport, security and logistics.
Fantastic.
Yes, it's just been the highlight of my career recently. I never ever thought, I would be on that stage. So interestingly, it was quite a tough competition to be in. But I was told that out of the top 5, there was just a point between me and the winner. Now the winner, I've maintained a relationship with. He works at Unitrans, and this guy is just out of this world. He's got 3 master's degrees, and when you speak with him, you're like, one day, it's just goals loading. But in any case, so I won that finalist award, and then what our company does is if you do extremely well during your MAP program, then you nominated by the executives to go onto the executive development program. So I completed that successfully last year. I'm a high achiever, so I wasn't really happy with what I got. I thought I'd be top of the class again, but I was competing with these very highly qualified individuals from various sectors. I mean, you're competing with CEOs, CFOs, CAs, but I was happy because I managed to get 2 distinctions, 2 Bs and a C, and I got a B aggregate. So I just missed it. I think I got 73% aggregate, so I just missed an A aggregate by like 2%, but I understood because of my business experience that it's a bit limited. So I worked at Fidelity in a financial role, then I'm in a human capital role, but it's also infused with employee benefits, it's infused with wellness, safety. There's a whole lot of involvement, and there's a lot of components that make up this corporate wellness role. So I'm extremely grateful for the role. There's some milestones that I've already achieved that had never been done before. So I'm really happy about that. It just keeps me going. So that is my journey, Sally. I hope I've captured everything.
Yeah.
So I've got the entrepreneurial flair on the one side, and then I've got the professional career on the one end. In terms of my professional career, I hope to study. I'm still looking for which master's program to follow, but I'm extremely passionate about leadership and strategy. So I still need to find something along those lines. And then on the entrepreneurial side, I still want to uplift women and young people. I look at my children, they top of the class in their grades, they're driven, they're intelligent, they're smart, they work hard, and I don't want to lose them. And it's not just my children, but there's a lot of children out there who start out really well, and then because of socioeconomic factors, now we're in this pandemic, then we lose them. So I'm really passionate about that. There's something that I'm working on. I'm hoping it can develop and be established and definitely continue to make whatever impact I can in the lives of people. There's a lot going on. If I can just give back and see people like in my environment, my professional environment, I've mentored people and they're doing well. So I'd also out there in the community want to do something that will, just to give back, that will make this life a little bit better, because it's extremely hard, eh?
Yeah.
We're in hard times, Sally. It's not funny, I say to my children every day, be grateful for what you have. Even if you have a piece of chocolate, remember there's somebody out there who's just had water and plain rice.
Yeah.
They even have rice, So, so that's Kathleen.
Kathleen, you've definitely, I mean, your path to employee experience and working where you are now has definitely had, you've definitely had a bit of flavor from everything. But if I may, the one comment that, that I would just like to say is, you talk about that you've been very fortunate, but, in my experience, fortunate things happen to people who uplift and create opportunities for others. So, I like to think of it like that you've created a lot of opportunity for other people and continue to do so. And perhaps that's why you've been fortunate yourself. So think about that maybe.
It's, you know what, it's bringing tears to my eyes. What you just said, thank you.
No, I believe really that what you put out there in the world, comes back to you. And so, yeah, I think you've done a lot. And I mean, just listening to all the things that you've accomplished, it's amazing. And being a mom and an entrepreneur and still running business and being active in the church and doing all these things, I think especially as women in business, we often come across that kind of imposter syndrome around, like, should I be here? And you definitely should be. So never doubt that. And I think that was an amazing journey. So I'm going to wrap up part one, and we'll be back shortly with part two.